What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Dillian, the body snatcher Whyte. Get this, Dillian Whyte fuming after Anthony Joshua's latest pick. Dillian Whyte says the winner of he and Jermaine Franklin was promised the Joshua fight. Dillian Whyte was led to believe that the winner of the fight he had with Jermaine Franklin back in November would be rewarded with a fight with Anthony Joshua, a return fight in Whyte's case. Whyte won, as we know, via 12-round majority decision, yet now, as we also know, it will be Franklin squaring off against AJ this April 1st in London, and Whyte is fuming as a result. Speaking to the Sun Sport, he said this. He said he would have been better off losing to Franklin and getting the AJ fight. The 35-year-old Whyte, 28-3-18, and one win removed from the stoppage loss to Tyson Fury, says that he is frustrated at the way that he is unable to secure big fights. I just want to make some fights but it's fucking frustrating, Whyte said. Everyone was told, all the boxing fans, the winner of me and Franklin fights AJ. So this is fucked up thing. This is a fucked up thing. I would have been better off losing to Franklin and getting the AJ fight. I knew DAZN needed content for their subscribers, but why choose to fight a low-key American coming off a loss instead of having a massive British tear-up? I'm not surprised that they have chosen April 1st for this battle of the fools. I faced Franklin, the most dangerous and undefeated version of him, and beat him. Eddie Hearn was promised him many millions to fight AJ if he beats me. It is the tongue to disagree with what Whyte has to say, and let me counterpunch. Wow. Where do I begin? Well, if I'm Dillian Whyte, I would be upset as well. Because regardless of him having a close fight with Franklin, he did win by decision. That was the word around the campfire, that he would receive that opportunity to rematch, to revenge his loss, his first loss to Anthony Joshua. Okay? And I could see why he's upset. And another thing is, this is a very good question and a point that he did bring up. If he would have lost to Jermaine Franklin, would he have got the AJ rematch? That's the question you ask yourself, because you're looking at risk versus reward, and we don't know how that would have swayed. Would they have picked Dillian Whyte, or would Dillian Whyte just be out anyway? Okay, but let me counterpunch Dillian Whyte as well. Okay, Dillian Whyte was like, hey, you picked some American. Why would you pick some American instead of where do I see that at? I know bad. Okay, maybe it's playing. Okay, Jay, look. Blah, 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 blah. AJ is being protected. Maybe you agree with Whyte. I don't know. Whyte did go to say, though, like, why would you fight some American instead of an all-British tear-up? So this is another question. Why then did you last year pick Jermaine Franklin? Yourself, Dillian Whyte, why did you decide to pick Jermaine Franklin out of a hat that nobody knew shit about? Nobody knew anything about Jermaine Franklin until you decided that you wanted to choose that particular guy when you came over here to the USA. Because remember when Dillian Whyte was supposed to come here and take on an opponent in America? You guys remember that? And he chose Jermaine Franklin, and everybody else went apeshit. Jarrell Miller, Charles, I walk this earth like a God Martin. He said, hey, why are you picking those guys? And I had to agree with Charles Martin because nobody knew who Jermaine Franklin was. He made Jermaine Franklin liable. He made him a star. How? You fought a guy like that in your backyard and you damn near lost. Counterpunch. So then you can't say, why did AJ fight him? Or why is he fighting him now? Because maybe, just maybe, you didn't fight him or beat him convincingly enough, and he looked good and held his own against a guy that was supposed to knock him and run him right over like yourself. Counterpunch. So we have to look at that how it is. Now, is Joshua being protected? I don't know. It could be. You know, if he's going to blame anything, he would blame Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn was the one that said that shit. He was the one around the campfire that spread the story that AJ will fight the winner of Dillian Whyte and Jermaine Franklin. Okay, so that's who he needs to take arms up with. Not really AJ. Okay? Because he needs to make Eddie Hearn accountable for the things that he spews out of his mouth. Like Wilder said, speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. That's what he's supposed to receive because he fought that guy and he got the L. I mean, he got the W, right? And gave Franklin his first L. So there you go. So I don't know really what to say, but karma's a bitch. How about this one? This is another way you can look at it. You can't secure big fights, right? You can't secure big fights, but then fights or fighters can't seem to secure big fights with you. Look at Otto Whyte. We'll scratch out Andy Ruiz because I just think that was total, utter saw-the-mill bullshit. Let's just keep it a buck. But with Otto Whyte, people did scratch their head like, yo, Whyte, why did you should have fought Otto Whyte. And then maybe it was a question that maybe he didn't want to fight Otto Whyte because maybe Otto Whyte was a damn banana peel. Yeah, maybe he was that guy that would have gave him problems, especially being a southpaw too. You know, maybe he wouldn't have been able to get him out of there. I would have loved to see the fight, and I was stoked and ready to see that fight. And then all of a sudden he canned it, and then all of a sudden he was in the Tyson Fury fight, right? So he went from being injured to right into negotiations with Tyson Fury to fighting Tyson Fury in April. Okay, so, I think and I feel a lot of this that Dillian Whyte's going through right now is work of his own doing. Okay, it's karma, baby. That's how it works because, you're mad because Eddie Hearn stiffed you. Yeah, he did. Take it up with him. But then again, you brought the guy up in the first place. Nobody knew Jermaine Franklin until you mentioned him. You made him activated. You made him qualified. He was a 20-14, no losses, no draw fighter that nobody knew who the hell he was from Michigan. You made him what it was. You could have called out Charles Martin. You could have fought Charles Martin before Luis Ortiz got to him, but you didn't do that. And that would have meant more than fighting the guy that you fought or you picked, which is Jermaine Franklin. Why? Because he's a former IBF champion. One of the worst, but still former IBF heavyweight champion of the world that AJ once beat. So guess what? You should have fought him. Now AJ is fighting the guy that you had trouble with, Jermaine Franklin, or you had a challenge with. Let's say that. That's better to say that. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Dillian Whyte and his fuming, his lividness. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!